In this video, I'm going to go over the process of uploading an album to the major streaming services using DistroKid. Many game developers haven't released music before, and it's a bit of a mystery to some, so hopefully this helps. Releasing a video game soundtrack to the major streaming services is the same as releasing any other music, with only one real difference, which I'll mention later in this video. There are a bunch of other services besides DistroKid. Before 2023, I was using CD Baby for all of my music uploads, and it's still a great choice today. The major difference between the two is that CD Baby is a one-time payment-based system where you pay for each album or single that you release, while DistroKid is a subscription-based system where you pay annually and can release an unlimited amount of music in a year. Signing up for DistroKid is the same as registering on any other website, so I'm not going to go into that in detail. Go ahead and create an account if you need to, and then join me for the rest of this tutorial. Once you've created an account on the site, submitting an album is a one-page web submission form. That sort of thing always terrifies me a little, because if there's a page error or a browser crash, you tend to lose all of your data entry work. But to be fair, I've never had any sort of issue submitting to DistroKid. Before I start, I make sure I have a text file with the track list handy so that I don't make any mistakes. Start by clicking Upload Music. The first part of the form asks what services to upload to, and I just take the defaults. Enter the number of songs. It's probably not been previously released, so you don't need to check that. Then select the band name. Now, if you haven't uploaded music before, it will create new profiles on Spotify, Apple, YouTube Music, and even Instagram. Now, this is important if you've uploaded music on a different platform before for the same artist in order to avoid duplicates. For example, because I had uploaded things on CD Baby before, the first time I uploaded an album, I had to select the existing profile for this artist, and now it's associated, so in future uploads I don't have to worry about it. Set your release date. It's a very good idea to specify a date that's at least 1 month out. Not only does it take a little while for the data to get over to the services, if you leave enough time, you'll be able to submit a song to Spotify for their editorial playlist consideration, and that requires at least, I believe, 2 weeks of lead time. Time and time synchronization isn't particularly important. I don't generally bother with pre-orders, but you certainly can if you want to. If you have a record label, you'll enter it here, or just enter the name of the artist if not. You can set the price here. It's pretty typical to just set the same price that you're going to charge on Steam for this album. I've been releasing music at this price for ages, but it's a little bit less expensive on Steam, so people buying from Steam will get a bit of a discount. Now, when you select the genre of soundtrack, it brings up an important note here that says soundtrack is only for film, TV, game, and theater soundtracks, and that you must specify in parentheses the type of soundtrack. So in my case, it is Navigating the Labyrinth, parentheses, game soundtrack. And then select your secondary genre. Upload your album cover. It should be a 3000 pixel image, but you can use something a bit smaller if you want to. For example, in the past I've used 2000 pixel images just because that's what my capsule art looks like. Enter your title, of course adding that game soundtrack bit, and then start filling in the song information. The first one is the most work. Most of the settings you're going to want to leave at the default. Of course, enter the title, you select the file. Don't upload something lossy like an MP3 or WMA. Upload the WAV file. I don't even know why they let you upload an MP3. That's just silly. And then fill in the songwriter, which is important. Now, if there are lyrics, you could have separate songwriters for music and lyrics. You could have multiple names. There's a lot of flexibility with this field. Once you've entered the songwriter data, you can copy it to all of the other songs, which will save you a lot of time. Of course, if you've got multiple artists on your soundtrack, you wouldn't want to do that, but in my case, I wrote all of the songs, so I'm copying all that over. Another setting that might apply to your music is whether it's an instrumental. In my case, all of my songs are instrumentals, so I select this song as an instrumental and contains no lyrics. I leave the track price at the default, and then on to the next song, where all of this repeats again, but the only things I'm personally changing are the song title, the file, and that it's an instrumental. Once you've filled in all the information for all of your tracks, there's some additional information needed for Apple Music. They make you fill in at least one performer and one producer credit. Just like the writing credits, there's a button to copy this information to all of the other tracks that could save you a lot of time. In my case, I did click that button. And I did it for both the performer and producer sections. When you get to the bottom, it will offer you a bunch of extras for an upcharge, as these services really enjoy doing. Most of these I have not used, but some of them are kind of interesting. For example, the social media pack. Although it adds a pretty significant yearly fee, you do get into YouTube Content ID automatically so that your songs will be monetized if they're on other people's videos. The Leave a Legacy one is also interesting because you can pay that to not have to be a subscriber to DistroKid in order for your music to stay on the services. Now, if you're no longer subscribed to DistroKid, your music will disappear from Spotify and Apple Music and all of the other services, essentially because you have revoked the license to publish. The loudness normalization one I find particularly silly because they will charge you $3 per song to normalize the loudness. But if you're at this point that you're uploading music, you've probably done that already in the mastering process. And if not, you probably should. And of course, you have to fill in all of these important mandatory checkboxes. They get enough people asking them, why is my music on YouTube, that you actually have to acknowledge that, yes, we're sending your music to YouTube. And then the last step is pretty important. Look at your release details and make sure you haven't made any typos in the song names. And then when everything looks good to you, click the Done button and it will start the upload process. Depending on your internet upload speed, this could be a fast process or it could take a long time. And when it finishes, it'll take you to a summary page where you can review that everything looks okay, see the release date, and there are a few links that you can use to share or bookmark your music. But congratulations, once you've gotten to this point, you're done and ready to go, and your music will appear on the streaming services on whatever date you specified. I'm also going to upload this soundtrack to Steam, and I'll make a video going over that process, since the packaging process is a bit odd and may trip people up. Subscribe if you don't want to miss that. Thanks for watching.